We're back. We're talking about 205 Live. We're talking about NXT. Byron's with me again.
Hi.
Byron, I need you to give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
Woo!
That, unfortunately, was the highlight of this 2 hours of wrestling.
Yeah. Well, there was that, and then there was the main event of NXT. Those were the two I would point to. Everything else was kind of adequate to subpar.
Also, there's 4 wrestling matches in 2 hours.
Yeah, I had trouble finding the wrestling. I could have got probably both of these things watched in, 25 minutes total?
Yeah, probably a little more than 30.
I had to spend an extra 10 minutes flipping through all of the different promo packages and re-hype packages of things that I've, already seen.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of expected it from NXT. They kind of always do this after TakeOver. They kind of have to, beat you over the head with what happened to TakeOver.
Yeah. Well, I guess they need to re-hype themselves because people usually get drafted after takeovers. So
and people did, because of course Bobby Roode has left for SmackDown.
Bobby Roode,
baby.
Kangaroo, baby.
But to pair that with a rather not action-packed 205 Live, probably not a great idea.
Very true. Also, I apologize if I start coughing or whatever. The forest fire smoke around here has been fucking ridiculous.
So we opened up 205 Live with Grand Metalik and Cedric Alexander versus Drew Gulak and Tony Nese. Take it away, sir.
It was alright. Grand Metalik was, of course, again, the highlight of the show. They, again, still really need to change Cedric Alexander's mopey-ass fucking song. Drew Gulak did his Drew Gulak thing. I enjoyed the puns from Tony Nese. Very well done. And I watched this match like an hour ago, and I still have already forgotten who won. So that's about it.
In the end, it was lumbar check to Gulak from Alexander.
Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, good point out, because that was actually well executed. Well, it wasn't really that well executed, but I enjoyed the spot that they kind of pulled for the move. So, but the move itself was kind of sloppy and rushed.
Generally speaking, I think everything was positive here for the most part. Nese's promo work continues to get better and better. It still has a ways to go before I think he could be like a top line, I would imagine heel, but babyface also. But it's getting better, and his work is getting better. Grand Metalik got to show off some moonsaults and a lovely stereo dive with Cedric Alexander. So they're getting him involved in the show. I like that, so that's a plus. I also like that Drew Gulak is so into the character that even when he's like on the outside, not involved in the match, he's still going on about high flying.
Yeah, listen to the ref, take it down, bring him down.
So props to Drew Gulak, props to Tony Nese, props to Metalik. Not really any props to Cedric Alexander, not because he didn't do very well, just because he just simply met my expectations and didn't really do anything different.
Yeah, I mean, he did all of the Cedric Alexander things that I've seen Cedric Alexander do. So that's Cedric Alexander. Great.
I would like to see him in a decent singles feud, because it feels like they're trying to build him as the guy who dethrones Neville. He's the one who keeps getting victories over various heels and so on in tag matches. I'd like to see him go into something decent in a singles feud, because the Noam Dar thing doesn't count.
Yeah, no, and you know what? I'm not really that excited to see him in a singles feud, because if he just does these same 7 or 8 moves all the time, then I've seen them. Why would I care?
He's capable of being more creative. See ROH, for example, but again, we do kind of run into this problem where I have expectations for large chunks of the 205 roster that are not being met because I've seen them elsewhere. So get to the big show, become boring. Gotcha.
Pretty much. So, yeah, like I said, the only person in this match that was of worth any note, really, other than their kind of character work, was Grand Metalik. He was the only wrestler in the match you should care about, because he's the only one doing things that, quite frankly, either I have not seen before or haven't seen in a very long time. And he doesn't do the same things in every match.
Well, he does some of the same things. He does do that, the twirling rope walk all the time. There's some signature stuff.
That's just like an accent piece. It's not like Cedric Alexander, who throws the power back elbow with the big slap to the chest every single match. Obviously you can use the same finisher because it's your finisher, but he does exactly the same thing every time. Maybe not in the same exact order, but it's the same 7 or 8 moves.
There's not a ton of different variation. They've definitely boxed his moveset into a very small box, and they've done that with a lot of guys.
Yeah, it's the WWE signature thing. It's we're going to hire you because of your massive skill set and your incredible following of fans, and we're going to limit you to the bare minimum we need to sell merch, and that's pretty much it.
Which I don't have a problem with when it comes to making someone like a safer worker and stuff. We talked about this before, but like it's not really what's going on. Like they're kind of making him boring and generic, and that's a bit of a problem because it's not like Cedric Alexander had a particularly unsafe style, or Drew Gulak had an unsafe style. Don't really know about Tony Nese. Wasn't familiar with him until he showed up in WWE.
No, me neither.
But even like Grand Metalik had a lot of things taken away, and he's a pretty safe worker if you give him his full moveset.
Yep. I would point to perhaps Chris Hero, where you can start to see the de-evolution of his skill set, where when he re-debuted, what was it, like 6 or 8 months ago? Something like that. He was doing the cool shit. Like, he was doing the over-the-rope handspring on the apron, flip down to whatever the hell else was going on. And now it's just, like, he's still able to pull off a very good match. It's just that you don't get to see any of the really, really cool stuff anymore. You just got to get to see that very, very limited young knockout kid kind of moveset, which is even more limited now that he's doing WWE stuff. You can chart the progress, the de-evolution of his style, and soon he will be devolved to a sufficient amount where he's just not going to be able to get over.
Probably. That's probably very much the case, because admittedly during the current Cassius Ohno run, the only time I really got like super excited for his match was basically his Aleister Black match. I was very excited for the Hideo Itami match, but it turned into a storyline piece as opposed to a proper match. But like the Aleister Black match was really, really good, but that's because they're letting Aleister Black be kind of unique. Although even he's a toned down version of Tommy End right now. So
very much so.
That's kind of what they do.
Yep.
And I don't really like it.
Aleister Black is kind of a weird anomaly wherein as they're trying really hard to limit him to, if they possibly could, limit him to only a single move. But he is able to still do very excellent storytelling work in the ring, whereas everybody else just seems to be focused on, okay, I gotta execute move number 3 now.
Yeah. Well, NXT still has decent storytelling in the ring, but 205 Live is, I think, probably the case study in this, the de-evolution of its workers, because you're given a bunch of guys who are like, I think they just have like really tightly mapped out matches, and they there's no room for improvisation, storyline, variety.
And it's people like if you're a fan of the Shawshank Redemption, they bring up the term institutionalized, and that's very much what the WWE does to the majority of its workers. The best of the best can still do great storytelling, and you get that from guys like Jericho and people of that, AJ Styles, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Owens, although much less so Kevin Owens these days. The last 6 months has just like fallen right off a cliff. There's to bring the rant to a close. I guess you can either institutionalize yourself or you can work within the system, and the best of the best can work within the system and still do cool things. The vast majority are just not able to kind of adjust to that, I guess. And then you just become generic wrestler number 37 that they can do 50-50 booking with until they throw you away.
Pretty much. And then you're not over when they throw you away. I guess there is, to a degree, method to their madness.
I guess, yeah.
It prevents any of them from being actual stars when they leave.
Yeah. The few, exceptions being like guys like Cody Rhodes, I guess you gotta just ask for your release. And once you're on the indie scene, man, you gotta know.
Even Cody Rhodes was booked into oblivion. He's just so good that he remade himself as a star.
Oh yeah, totally. So I mean, there's stuff like that. Austin Aries, I assume, is going to be massive. The next year, the next 12 months, you're going to see Austin Aries explode through the roof, more than ever before. I would have to assume, unless he goes to GFW.
They might do something with him in GFW. I mean, God knows their X division needs serious help.
Yeah, but no one's going to watch GFW.
Their champion is, I think their champion's Trevor Lee right now, which is pretty sad. He's like a really, really, really low-rent version of Daniel Bryan.
Oh, boy.
The Hardys buddies.
Other than that, what else was on tour? We had the
Akira Titus bit, which we quoted earlier on.
Indeed.
Which was the highlight of the show.
Akira Tozawa Neville match, which was okay.
It was okay. Its storyline kind of made it into a bit of a plotter, though, because the story was, work the shoulder. The standard WWE work an injured body part match that
walk and plod, baby, walk and plod.
We've raged against repetitively, and it's with two guys who made it at least sort of entertaining to watch, because Neville and Tozawa are fucking awesome workers. But even they couldn't. It was maybe like a 2 2.25 star match.
Yep.
Maybe 2.5 if I'm being generous.
Perhaps.
Other than that, we had a TJP Rich Swan little thing, which was fine. The most amusing thing was TJP trying to turn off the PlayStation or Xbox, whatever that was, with his cane or not crutch.
I am liking the fact that Rich Swan is slowly evolving into George Clinton and or Africa Bambaataa. I can't tell which. Time will tell. It's just very interesting to watch him slowly. Like he'll have multicolored dreads soon or something like that, and with the T shades, and I'm enjoying it.
I'm enjoying the storyline, but this was nothing. Then we have the Jack Kendrick spot. So Gentleman Jack's out there for a duel with Brian Kendrick,
which I kind of wanted to watch.
I was very into this when Gentleman Jack was talking, when he was talking about what would happen, and then Kendrick gets on the big screen and talks about how duels are for clowns, and basically we're back full circle again. We're right back to where this feud started.
Mm-hmm.
We had some progress. It was either last week or the week before where Kendrick was legitimately afraid of him, and wanted to duel him as a way to get it to resolve this, and we just ended up back. The only thing this did was we got to see Gallagher beat up a clown for a bit, and then Kendrick got to ambush him from behind, take him out, and then make a match between the two that is no DQ.
Which they should have. I don't know. What they should have done.
This feud may be the biggest waste of talent on, and this includes Enzo and Cass. It's maybe the biggest waste of talent entirely, because no one's getting over on this. At least Enzo and Cass started kind of hot.
In a real wrestling, now Vince McMahon may want to pay attention to this, because this is how you do things in wrestling. This is some basic shit. I don't understand. You just really have these guys fight. Just have them fight. And then people are hyped to see them we're having a match. I hate you. You hate me. Cool. Let's fight. Well, they have a fight. And then, after that, the fight gets out of control. And then, so, okay, we'll reschedule the fight. You guys gotta, if you're gonna have a match, you gotta have, obey the rules. Cool. That goes out of control. This is some bullshit. I hate you, you hate me, blah, 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 blah. No DQ match. That's how you do it. And then people will pay attention, because they will actually care. You don't rely on one guy to try and continually get everything over, because Kendrick's dead in the water. Nobody cares about Kendrick.
Well, the problem is they're not even giving him nothing even to work with. His whole thing is, he's a clown. Well, then fight him.
Yeah.
You keep saying, I'm a fighter, then fight him. What the... What is this supposed to be doing other than burying these two?
I don't know.
Normally, at least I can see, like, okay, this is kind of what's supposed to be happening. It's not happening, but this is what is supposed to be happening. In this case, I'm convinced this is supposed to bury these two. I don't know why you do that.
I don't know. It's basic wrestling stuff that I know how to do, and I'm not even in the industry, so I don't have a clue why this is hard.
Yeah. Then we had, then we had the Neville and Tozawa match, which we basically talked about. We were kind of, considering it was Neville versus Tozawa, we were bored.
Yep.
I mean, it's as bored as I can be during a Neville match. Tozawa tapped out to the Rings of Saturn after a lot of, working the shoulder type stuff.
Yep.
And then Neville gets on the mic, cuts a pretty decent promo.
It's Neville.
Then Enzo comes out, talks about how this is now the realest show in the room.
Correct.
And I guess we're getting Neville versus Enzo, which means the quality of the matches is going to be even worse in the main event.
Well, I'm sort of hopeful, because if I was going to put Enzo in a feud with anybody, I guess it would be Pac. My brain slipped. Neville. I would put him in there with him, because I have total faith in Neville to be able to work a program against a guy like that and make him look good and make yourself look good. So hopefully this is sort of a resurgence for Enzo, because I would like to get, not so much have him just get the rub from Neville, but actually learn a bunch of stuff. And if you put him in a feud against a guy who's good enough and can teach stuff, then it'll all work out fine, and everybody comes out so much stronger.
Problem is, I'm pretty sure this is just going to be a slaughter.
You're probably not wrong, but I'm hopeful that things can be awesome. So we'll see.
I doubt it. See, I don't get my hopes up, because then they get trashed down by WWE's hatred towards me. Why do you not want my money, WWE?
My money not good enough for you.
Apparently, my money is not good enough for them. It's kind of sad, but yeah. I mean, crowd was hot enough for Enzo, I guess. I mean, it is Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. He is always going to be kind of, I think, over in that general area.
Oh, fuck yeah, bud.
And that's really about all there is to say about 205 Live. So, not a very good episode. And only 2 matches, as opposed to usual 3 or 4 we get.
Matter of fact, I think we just talked longer than the matches went.
That's quite possible. I mean, this is the problem with 205 Live, the way that this episode went. Not necessarily the way all episodes, but this episode is. The strength of 205 Live is the action. Like, you could argue that on Raw and SmackDown, the strength of it is, storytelling and stuff, but it's definitively not the case on 205 Live. The promos don't have the same impact. The there really aren't even backstage skits, really, outside of playing video games. Your strength is your action, so let your action do the talking.
Mm-hmm.
Let's roll on to NXT, which, like I said, I came into with low expectations. It was going to be a recap, rehype show, and it was. So, that meant we got very little in the way of wrestling. And not really a lot in the way of even setting next storylines, though. Which that kind of annoyed me.
But you know what we did get? Lars Sullivan, baby!
We did get Lars Sullivan Pearl Harboring No Way Jose, which sets up
the shit out of him.
Sets up a feud with No Way Jose. So that's the only storytelling they really did that set up like future stories. I'm kind of disappointed in it, because again they really left the Andrade Cien almost No Way Jose storyline very unresolved. So
yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm perfectly happy to see Large Sullivan. I'm going to call him Large Sullivan because I can. I'm perfectly happy to see him get screen time and see him develop. We've already got almost in a program with Gargano. I mean, how fucking greedy can you get?
Yeah, no, but pretty good. So, we'll get those two. feuding a little bit. Should be good. Should be good.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had Gargano do a backstage promo. It was your standard babyface promo, really.
It's your boy Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, nothing really to write home about, but it was good. I'm excited to see where Johnny Gargano goes from here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see him at some point face off with Tommaso Ciampa. So yeah, I mean,
I'm actually hoping that I'm hoping that they save that for like a main roster thing. I'm hoping that at some point in the next, like, Gargano's going to be out for a while.
That is true.
So I'm hoping that somebody somewhere has half a brain and 1/8 of a testicle and brings up Gargano and actually lets him wrestle. I don't know, like Shelton Benjamin or AJ Styles or Sami fucking Zayn. Chad fucking Gable. Hello. Put him on SmackDown and let him wrestle some dudes who wrestle. And holy shit, you're gonna have a superstar because that dude is sympathetic as fuck. If you put him in a like fantasy booking time, somehow Gargano and Zayn and a newly face-turned Owens end up being like a trio of dudes that just kind of hang out and are sympathetic as fuck because they can be, with Owens being the kind of more charismatic face of the bunch. And then you would have like a face DX like you've never seen because, well, not really a DX, but like that's the only WWE thing I can compare it to because they've never been very good at anything that didn't involve Shawn Michaels.
Well, they also don't really do face factions like ever.
Yeah,
I remember when Evolution got beat up by Randy Orton, Jericho, Benoit, and Maven.
Yeah.
And that lasted like all of like a couple of weeks. And it's like,
and it was hot.
Why is this not just a face stable?
Yeah, and the people went fucking crazy.
People went mental for Maven.
Yeah, you had a superstar in Maven and they fucking fucked that up.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Anyway.
So yeah, they don't do face stables very well. We've established this.
Yeah.
That needs to change, like, because their idea is like stables are a thing that heels do. I'm like, not really. Chaos.
People love to see the guys that they love do awesome things, and if they're doing awesome things together, even fucking better.
Also, to be honest, it just makes sense in this world where we've been introduced to MMA specifically as very much a team sport. Mm-hmm. Like, you're a member of American Top Team, you're a member of American Kickboxing Academy, Brazilian Top Team, TriStar, whatever it happens to be.
Ray Rice Top Team, OP.
Ray Rice Top Team. You can easily do something like that because, I mean, these guys, do they not have to train with someone? Like, to maintain their physique, to try out new moves, to stay sharp? So, not that I would, like, bring, like, because GFW's brought in, like, the whole American Top Team idea with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't go that far, but you can have, like, teammates, in a nutshell. Like, face stable. You can do this. In fact, you've done this before with DX. You've done this before, honestly, with a little bit with the Hulk Hogan and friends. Back in the 80s and 90s.
The Mega Powers explode, baby. Mega Powers were the biggest thing ever at that time. In the history of ever. And they were faces.
Yeah.
Case in fucking point.
Well, I mean, case in point, New Japan. Chaos.
Yeah. Everybody's in a fucking stable there.
It's a face stable right there. And let's not forget my favorite stable on the planet right now.
Great Bashu?
Taguchi Japan.
Ah, Taguchi Japan. Very nice. Very nice. Well chosen.
Mm-hmm. So much talent, especially if, like, War Machine officially becomes, like, an associated act. So moving on, we had Peyton Royce versus Sarah Logan. You were very not into this match.
They didn't do anything. It was basic. Peyton Billy or whatever.
Here's the thing.
Did a bendy thing a couple of times. Had a nice Northern Lights suplex. It was a fisherman suplex. And then Sarah Dobson or whatever the fuck you said it was, Crazy Mary Dobson's her other name. Yep. Well, I don't know anything about that character other than apparently she's crazy. And Yeah, so there was a couple of cool suplex spots, there was a bendy spot, and that was it. It was basic, subpar, don't give a shit about it, nobody did anything I care about.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Do you really want Peyton Royce doing anything complex?
I mean, if she's somewhat capable, that would be lovely, but
I'm not
she's
convinced
not,
she is.
so she's not.
I find her to be the worst of the two Aussies. Like, Billie Kay looks good compared to her. That's not good. That's not good.
Were they?
No, I mean, this match was... I mean, it was nothing like a 2-star throwaway, star and a half to 2-star crap match, but like it's what she's capable of doing, and unfortunately, that's the state of the NXT Women's Division. You basically have 3 really good workers: Ruby Riott, Nikki Cross, and Asuka, and you have Ember Moon, who's growing on me a little bit, but almost seems to have to work with those girls to really have a great match.
And apparently has already injured Asuka, just like she's injured a bunch of other people.
Yeah, there's that too. And then after that, you have the iconic duo, and you have a bunch of girls who are learning to wrestle, like Sonya Deville, Lacey Evans, I think is the deal, the Marine chick.
Oh, fuck. Wasn't she the MMA fighter that can't fight?
No, that's Sonya Deville.
Oh.
Lacey Evans faced her. She's got like kind of an old pinup girl gimmick type thing, former US Marine.
Yeah, okay.
So you got girls like that who are like learning to wrestle. Then you have Crazy Mary Dobson, who's actually quite good worker. Like I would enjoy seeing her work with Nikki Cross. I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Or Ruby Riott, if you want to go that route. Or obviously not Asuka now because they haven't even given her a win on TV. But thinking in the future, who can work. But the problem is, who do you match them up against? You're either matching up developing people with developing people, or you're matching them up with the Aussies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it's not great. It's not a great place to be. But,
not fantastic, no.
But I came in expecting a really, really bad match, and I got something that was passable. Not impressive, but passable.
No. There was a cool high crotch pickup. There was a cool Northern Light suplex. The bendy thing, like press in the corner, who cares? I'm assuming that 90%, well, I'm assuming that 50% of the people on the roster could pull that spot off. And I'm assuming that at least 40% have better butts than that, so I don't really care.
Then we move on to the main event. Tyler Bate, Trent Seven, a.k.a. The Mustache Mountain, versus Pete Dunne and Wolfgang.
It was a pretty darn good match. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of wrestling, which I enjoy on a wrestling show.
I do find it mildly ironic and like amusing that, I mean, as MMA fans, we've been making fun of British wrestling for God knows how long. Like,
I haven't.
Well, not you so much, but like Michael Bisping can't, like way back in the day, Michael Bisping can't wrestle because he's British. Do we have anything to back that up other than he's British?
Okay. Yeah.
It was kind of true, honestly, because there was a time where Bisping's takedown defense was not good. But
no, but he's been kind of the weird exception. Like I never got the impression that he had a wrestling deficiency. It's just that he never went out and used it. He's very defensive.
Well, his offensive wrestling, I think, was always fine. I just think his defensive wrestling was always a bit bad.
Well,
you kind of see that in some of the early UFC fights.
Opposite memory.
No, I mean, I remember him getting taken down quite easily by like anyone that was like pretty decent with a double leg. Like Elvis Sinisek was taking him down a lot, and that was a little
but he didn't.
troubling.
So what I'm kind of I'm more thinking of recovery wrestling than actual.
Oh no, his recovery was quite good, but his ability to actually stop a takedown wasn't that good. It's gotten better. Now you've got to be, I think, like a properly elite wrestler to get him down.
Yeah.
For example, Yoel Romero would get him down, but you're not going to get him down if you're what's a good example? Whatever. Well, it's Half-Eye on its own. There we go. Well, that's not a Sunsao.
I know, but it's
Sapo.
It's just fun to say. Come on.
Fair enough. But anyways, it's just kind of weird that British professional wrestling has become this like very chain wrestling oriented, very almost realistic form of professional wrestling.
Well, that's kind of their tradition. That's how British pro wrestling is. So it's never really changed a whole lot. I think they've maybe updated it a bit for modern day kind of TV based stuff. But other than that, it's always kind of been like that. If you go back and watch any like early Funley matches and stuff like that, you'll see
William
a bunch
Regal.
of that kind of stuff. Yeah, William Regal had too. But it's very much always kind of been in that regard.
Mm-hmm. It's just kind of ironic to me as an MMA fan. But yeah, a lot of good chain wrestling here. Wolfgang, who's probably the weakest worker of the four, minimally in the ring, which I think is a good idea.
And
also, I believe
he is literally just a pack of wolves in a singlet.
He is also Trent Seven was also making his debut, but he's making his debut, and you're kind of working towards him getting a title shot against Pete Dunne. They had the promo to set that up if they won tonight. So I'm assuming that's where it's going. So you kind of want to save him a little bit for that to be really impressive then. So all really, really solid booking. Not a lot of like spots I want to talk about.
No, not really. It was just really good wrestling, and I enjoyed it. There was some deadlift stuff. Tyler Bate did some deadlift stuff, as he does. I commented, and you agreed that Tyler Bate looks thinner, like slimmer, less muscle, but he doesn't seem to have lost any power, so whatever works, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his deadlift suplexes were really good.
I remember him having thighs of the size of planets, and not so much right now.
And a pretty good finish with Wolfgang making a blind tag and then hitting the howling on Tyler Bate for the 3 count.
Woo!
So he gets a pin over Tyler Bate in a tag team match. You don't kill Tyler Bate, I think, in really any way. And you move on to Wolfgang versus Pete Dunne for the title.
Yep, I would say so.
So, I mean, check all of the boxes, basically. Good tag match, check. Quality wrestling, check. Told a good story, check. Set yourself up for the next chapter, check. And everyone still looks as a viable contender for the title.
Holy shit, it's almost as if they were professionals.
Yeah. That's kind of the sad thing, is the probably most amateur match on the week is probably the best.
Mm-hmm.
So that's NXT and 205 Live. Not a great, like we said, not great work this week, but to be expected a little bit with NXT having their big pay-per-view and kind of having to rehype itself, retool, reset, get itself going again. I just would have liked if they had set up for like some more future stuff. We did miss Bobby Roode saying that he apparently is going to come back to NXT to face Roderick Strong. So he doesn't leave loose ends.
It'll be good to give Roddy the win on that one, so he can move on into bigger and better. Well, I say bigger and better things, but they really should have just put the fucking title on him in the first place.
I would hope Roddy goes over in that one, because I'm going to be very disappointed if Roddy just goes back to beat Roddy.
It's traditional at this point. If you're leaving NXT, you drop your title, so you got to do a job there, and then you got to do another job.
Which I'm still not keen on, because like people have been saying like, well, NXT's a third brand, it's not a developmental brand. I'm like, it definitely is though. Like SmackDown and Raw are drafting basically people from NXT. Mm-hmm. Like it's on TV, so it's not OVW style things. But I personally would be more of a fan of like just relinquishing the belt to take like a big contract. Mm-hmm. Like that to me would make more sense from a storyline, because otherwise everyone that's like debuting, it's like, we just saw you lose.
We did see that.
It takes a little bit of shine off of the debut. So anyways, I would, like that's what I mean, is like at the top I would treat NXT like a developmental brand.
Yeah.
You don't need a lineal champion so much. The idea is you're the champion, you're getting ready to go to the big show. And
the thing of it is that, and I'm not the only one that's been saying that, but we've been harping on Asuka dropping the title and how that she should just not drop the fucking title, or if she is going to, just lay it down in the middle of the ring, saying, "I've done it all. Here it is. Somebody else grabbed the title. I'm going to the big brand. Bye."
Yeah.
I've heard
I would do
a
that with
couple of other
all of them.
podcasts say the same thing. So yeah, pretty much.
Do that with like all of them. I mean, once in a while, I guess you can say, like, you could work into a storyline. Person's like, I got the big contract, but I don't want to relinquish the title. It's like, well, we're going to take that title off you, sort of thing. Like, we can, you can work it in. Like, it opens like creative doors even, and it also avoids, and it just makes debuts from NXT on the main roster that much more important, because it's like, that's the champion. Well, when Neville came up and when Owens came up.
I was going to say, when Owens came up, he was still the fucking champion.
And it was great.
Huh?
It was handled so well. It tells you that this person is supposed to be special right away, whereas a lot of it otherwise is reliant on people actually watching NXT, which the viewership numbers are not the same. And you do see it when some of the NXT guys come up, and like when Tyler Breeze came up, fucking dead crowd.
Yep.
And now, I mean, he was never the champion, but like if you're bringing him up with a belt, it's like, ooh, like people know what NXT is, even if they're not familiar with the people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just missed opportunities for WWE a lot of the time. But all right, give me a Ric Flair and we're out.
Woo!
All right. I hope that Titus O'Neil does that every week.
That is fantastic.
Like, it's a different thing, like, every week.
Give me 2 claps and a Jim Duggan. Ho!
It's like, give me a twirl and a Razor Ramon.
There you go. Say hello to the bad guy.
Well, I was gonna go with Hey Yo, but
yeah,
a little shorter. But yeah. Anyways, get off Byron's lawn. We'll be back with more stuff.
Possibly things.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a Lucha Underground episode to review still.
Okay.
We've got, next week, of course, we have 205, we have NXT, we have Lucha Underground, and we're just about done the G1, so we'll do our
two more
podcast.
Episodes of the G1.
Yeah, we'll do our closing podcast for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Probably all within the week.
Mm-hmm.